Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world, and welcome back to yet another match preview show. How are we all? Hopefully, like I said, all of you are having a fantastic Friday evening. Of course, the Reds are back in action yet again against Wolves. It feels like we're playing Wolves every single week at the moment, which, to be fair, is practically true. We have played them, I think, three times over the last 3-4 weeks. So it has been pretty much back to back to back games, to be fair. But we do have a very much an impactful show for you guys today. Of course, we're going to be speaking about many things in tonight's episode for you guys as well. Of course, we're going to be speaking about Roberto Firmino and him potentially being on the verge of signing a brand new contract for Liverpool Football Club, which of course is very exciting. We're also going to be discussing Enzo Fernandez. Of course, he got his transfer to Chelsea on transfer deadline day for 120 million euros, which of course, as it's come out today, could have a massive effect on whether or not Liverpool can afford to get Jude Bellingham. Of course, we'll have all the news around that as well. We're also going to be speaking about the Champions League squad. Of course, that's been announced today. And of course, we've got some very interesting news concerning returns to the squad. Yes, I did say that correctly. Returns to the squad. No more injuries. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Of course, hopefully, we do have plenty of returning faces to the squad over the next couple of weeks anyway. But we'll dive into everything in due course as well anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts. And thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you're new around here as well, then please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button as well. And if any of you guys are in here as well, then please share the video as well. Very much appreciated as always. And I will shout out as well, our TikTok is, I think it is 80 followers away from 1,000 hitting 1K on TikTok. So if we can get to that, we very much appreciate it. Again, at the Cop Council on everything, on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all these good things. Again, it's just clips from the show. Don't worry, you won't be seeing me unless we do sign Jude Bellingham. You will not be seeing me do a TikTok dance ever, unless Jude Bellingham is a Liverpool player in the summer, which hopefully that does happen. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't give that promise, to be fair anyway. But let's dive into the chat then before we do dive in to tonight's episode. And of course, this is a preview show as well, so we will talk about Wolves v Liverpool as well in tonight's episode. But Brian's in as well. Good seeing you, Brian. Doug's in here as well. Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing very well, thank you, Mark. Hopefully you're doing fantastic as well. Doug's saying Connor. Hello, Doug. Hopefully you're having a fantastic night, my friend. Hey, Doug. Evening, Mark. How are you, Brian? Hi, Brian. Redbird's in as well. Evening, all as well. Good seeing you as well, mate. As well. And Redbird says Jude ain't coming. I like to beg to differ, especially from Real Madrid side tonight. But again, things can change from now until until the summer anyway. But I am feeling optimistic with Jude Bellingham. But again, we'll move on. We'll speak about that in due course. Anyway, let me make sure I don't actually step on my wire. But yeah, anyway, but Elscouse is in as well, saying evening. No matter how shite we are, we always seem to get the old optimism back the night before. Look, things can't get worse, Elscouse said. That's the only thing I will say. But in saying that, by 5 o'clock tomorrow, I could be feeling absolutely awful yet again, which is most likely the feeling that I'm going to feel. But you know what, bugger it. Well, have a little bit of optimism at least anyway. But watching Chelsea versus Fulham at the minute, yeah, I've got him on at the minute. Enzo Fernandez hasn't been the best, has he, tonight, as of yet anyway, to be fair. Tom's in as well, saying hi, Connor as well. Hello, Tom. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day as well, my friend. Mudrick hooked at half time, Doug. Has he actually? I haven't seen that as well. I think Pereira might be getting red carded as well, but yeah. To be fair, Red versus why would man like Jude join the sinking ship? He might save the sinking ship, potentially, Redbird. Yeah, potentially he could very much save the sinking ship. Maybe he wants to do that. I don't know. And again, it's not just him. I think you have to take into consideration. We'll speak about it in a moment as well. But of course, his family as well is a huge factor of the move, and whether or not, of course, they'll advise it. Of course, it isn't just Jude Bellingham and his thoughts; it's the whole family's thoughts. Whether or not Liverpool can get that, over, I'm not sure. But the eyebrow as well. Mudryk went off. Bloody hell, Jesus Christ. 90 million. Yeah, Jesus Christ. It's not good, is it? And 8 more years as well. What was it, 8.5? 8.5 years. I think that's the best one. Redbird says, one man can save us. Get real. I'm not saying him, not just him. I'm not saying that at all. I think there's multiple people that need, like, if you're a common watcher, I've said since forever, I think Liverpool need at least 3 midfielders in the summer, let alone just one. And again, if you watch my videos, Redbird, I said that Liverpool need Bellingham. Was it Ortega? I think it is, from Sporting, and well, again, looks like Matthias Nunes is coming in the door as well. So again, it's going to be. I think Jude is part of it. I don't think he's, again, the solid answer. I would say anyway. But I'll get back to your comment in a brief moment, guys. Anyway, so keep your thoughts in. Keep on then. Let me know in the comment section down below. But we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about Roberto Firmino. Yes, the news broke probably 2 days ago that Roberto Firmino looks likely to be signing a brand new deal with Liverpool Football Club. Florian Plettenberg, that was pretty much nailed on everything in the January transfer window. Said that Firmino, as reported, he is on the verge of extending his stay at LFC, and his agent confirmed at Sky decision soon. Usually, he wants to sign a new contract until 2025, which again is brilliant piece of news, because look, I think pretty much everyone expected Bobby Firmino to be pretty much getting a new deal, and hopefully that will be the case as well. Of course, nothing is 100% until it's official and so on, because again, look how many things have changed in football as well. But his agent coming out as well, saying that we're in a super exchange, and in February we will probably also know where the journey goes. We are on a good path. We're having really good talks with LFC. This is an outstanding club, it does go on to say down below as well. Which again, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on Bobby Firmino getting a new deal. Looks like a 2-year deal. There could be an option, I think, for an extra year, if judging from the earlier reports by the likes of Florian Plettenberg. I think Christian Falk as well also mentioned something that Bobby could have a 2-year deal with an option in that contract of a year, but Liverpool, of course, don't have to activate that. And I think, if I'm being honest, I think if Liverpool didn't have the mess in midfield, I think Liverpool might have looked for a replacement. But again, can we afford at the moment to replace Roberto Firmino? No, we can't. We're a lot better side at the moment where Bobby's in the team. Look at this season. Bobby's been a saviour in some games. So I think, look, it's a good squad option to keep around. Of course, when you've got the likes of Luis Diaz back and Jota back, of course that forward line looks a lot better with them two in there. But again, it's a good option there. And of course, keeping Bobby Firmino around is 10 times better than not having him around, to be fair. So for me, I like the fact that it's a 2-year deal. It looks to be a pay cut as well, by the looks of things and the rumours and suggestions. So, again, good deal all round. And if it is the extra year as well, it'll just be good to, have that safe in the bank as well, because I did think that there would be a period where Bobby might have gone to someone like a Barcelona, because again, Barca at the moment don't have the financial the financial amount to go and buy someone for what 80-90 million quid at the moment. A free Roberto Firmino would be absolutely sound, wouldn't it? And I think, look, it's a pretty good deal for Liverpool, because I think, again, it's much better keeping him around than it is to let him go to a European rival, or to even a Premier League rival in that regard as well. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, because, again, for me, I think it's perfectly fine keeping Bobby Firmino around for another 2 years. Again, his last big contract at a big club, he might go back to Brazil. You don't know in that regard anyway. But again, good to see the fact that Bobby will be staying with Liverpool if things go the way it should anyway. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What are we saying? You never know if, say, three of our men come back to form. It would teeth the outlook as well. I don't know what that is. Oh, with the yeah, no, absolutely. Freaking hell. Let me go back up as well. Pass my appropriate work at work. So it's been a good Friday. Good to hear that, Doug, as well. Congratulations, my friend. Nobody thinks Jude on his own is enough. No, I don't think anyone does. Again, if people do think that, then Jesus Christ. Yeah, we need a lot more. I'm like, look, for me, I'm 100% Jude Bellingham. He's a must. It's no longer a, oh, Jude Bellingham would be nice, and a luxury item to put into Liverpool's midfield. He's a must for the summer. It's not just whether or not we could get him or whatever, but it is, a must for Liverpool. And as well, I think obviously Matthias Nunes is, of course, we'll speak about Wolves as well in tonight's episode, but him, I think Ortega as well. I think if that's, you guys know who I'm on about, the Uruguayan DM who plays for Sporting. His statistic looks absolutely unreal. And again, I know Portuguese league, but again, it's the same market that Liverpool are currently looking in at the moment. So again, it's a pretty good market to look at as well. To be fair, let me quickly scroll back down. Saying we're becoming pensioners. FC is like, no, Interest FC. That's the thing at the minute. Pre this mess, I'd say no. Now I'd say yes. Come on down for Bobby as well. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? I think I said last year, didn't I, chat, that the fact that I thought that Christopher Nkunku could have been a good replacement for Roberto Firmino if Liverpool, seriously wanted to rebuild in that regard, because Nkunku had pretty similar stats. I know Bobby was in the Premier League and Nkunku was in the Bundesliga, and of course Chelsea are going to sign him, or have signed him officially anyway. But again, I just think that Liverpool are a better squad with Roberto Firmino than without him. And again, how much would a Roberto Firmino cost to replace in today's market? What, 30, 40, probably even more than that, if we're being serious, I'd say potentially. 2-year deal is perfect as well, says Brian. I would agree with that. The Stamford Bridge pitch is very bad. It's Chelsea, isn't it? They can afford friggin' 120, 140 million pound players. They can't afford friggin' a pitch, for God's sake. I'm watching it now. Good squad option as well. Ben's in as well. Hello, Ben. Saying yes, Connor, and as well. I mean, chicken. You're playing DBD, Ben. I'm surprised you didn't come in here saying that you're going to play DBD, Ben. To be fair, but good seeing you as well. Hi, Doug as well. Hello, Ricky. With the eyes emoji. Hashtag FSG out. Good seeing you, my friend. Hey, Ricky as well. Doug, hello, Ricky. We all know. We all know. When the eyes emoji comes out, we all know it's Ricky, and the FSG out, I should say as well. Bob is worth the money. Just to keep his song going. Yeah, exactly. To be fair, that's going to be an interesting question. When he goes, do we keep singing the song for a season or not, or does it just depends where he goes? No, but again, we get to keep singing the song, at least for now anyway. Thank you, Mark, as well, for putting the lads link in the comments as well. Milner, Henderson, Keita, and Ox all finished at Liverpool. Fabinho nearly finished too. This hasn't changed. It was four midfielders needed last summer, and percentage best makes it three as well. Yes, to be honest though, out of them lot, I think Milner gets a new deal. If I'm being honest, Bry, I think James Milner gets a 1 year extension, which might not please people. If I'm being perfectly honest, but again, it might be more of a coaching contract than a player contract, if that makes like a player coach contract. Um, and I think that's the problem with, obviously at the minute James Milner is doing a lot behind the scenes, with the under 21s. I think the under 21s are playing right now, I think. And most likely James Milner will be there. He's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Obviously at the moment doing his badges at the moment. He confirmed that, I think, on a Sky Sports press conference, I think, or like not press conference, one of those like, ask James Milner questions. Then he did say that he was getting his badges completed. So hopefully, again, I think player coach will be the role. But yeah, I think Fabinho is. I think Fabinho's done in a Liverpool team. But again, I think that's Liverpool's problem by doing it. I don't. I like for me, Fabinho. How many times have we said over the last 3, 4 seasons that Fabinho is doing a three-man job in midfield? How many times have we said it? Um, and I think now we're starting to see the effects of it properly, because when you look at Fabinho's stats, they have declined, but not in the scenario of where, like, we would say week in, week out, like, that an 18-year-old Spanish midfielder called Stefan Bajcetic is literally starting in front of ahead of him, and is better than Fabinho this season. And it just comes down to, like, you look at the spatial awareness. You look at it when he came on against Brighton. Fabinho was awful. Like, he came on for what, 10 minutes? Should have got sent off. And that's just been Fabinho all season long. He just looks like a headless chicken. Just doesn't know what he's doing. And I wonder whether or not Jurgen might keep him around the squad. To have him as a backup for whoever comes in midfield, or as a backup for Stefan Bajcetic, or even maybe as a fourth or fifth choice centre half. Like now with Ibrahima Konate being out, I wouldn't mind. I'd much rather have Fabinho at centre back than I would Joe Gomez at the moment. That might be a mad thing to say after I've just said, he runs around like a headless chicken, but that might be it. That might be the case where he might move further back into a centre half position. And that's it. I think, honestly, I think Fabinho, out of them lot, I'd say Milner gets a new deal. Henderson stays because Hendo stays. Oh, a bit of a tangling. Sorry, guys. Henderson stays because he's cup captain. Keita's gone. Ox is gone. Simple as. In that regard, I think Naby is actually off to the Bundesliga. I think Florian Plintenberg mentioned something that there's 3 Bundesliga teams at the moment that are very keen on Naby Keita, which again I think is Dortmund, Leipzig, and an unknown club. I think that's it at the moment. Keita looks really good for Fulham. Is that the right back, Doug? Fabinho is fab. No more. Yeah, absolutely agree with you on there with the Redbird. Record number of Portuguese clubs in the Champions League knockout, strong league right now. Yeah, exactly. And again, if you guys want to go on to, I think is it F? What's the website I'd use to look at the stats? Is it FBR? Let me actually check before I actually say this, and then I end up messing up. Yeah, if you just type in FBREF, and just search up a player, you can literally search up all the statistics for players, like you guys seen, like when we talk about people, and that's the best for it. And when you look at that Ortega, he looks a very good DM. And the numbers back it up as well. Ben's DVD. Maybe later, Ben. Maybe later. They don't own the pitch as well, don't they? Really? I didn't know that. Ben Lads as well, says Ricky. The pitch Chelsea is desperately by the ground. People are protesting the new way in the group pitch. 20 years again. I don't. Again, it's shocking. Yeah, no problem, Connor, as well. Thank you for that, Mark. Do you agree that we need to take some pressure off Bajcetic's shoulders? Yes, he's exciting, but he's only a kid, and a lot of pressure can be put on his shoulders. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem at the moment. But Bajcetic at the moment gets into Liverpool's main team. Like that's the unfortunate part about it. This is why I think Liverpool need a DM in the summer, because I think, look, if you could have a DM, and if you could have a proper DM come in, Bajcetic is back up for now, and then of course give it 2-3 years, he might be the starting DM, or you could rotate in that regard, or for example, Bajcetic could even play as a number 8 in the midfield, or you could play a 2 and a pivot. Exactly, it gives you more and more options. For right now, though, because we're playing now week in, week out, and the only thing to interrupt it from now on is Champions League football. If you were to go, what's the best 11 at the moment to play Real Madrid? Bajcetic starts in that DM position. I wouldn't put Fabinho in right now. And I think, to be honest, I think that Bajcetic deserves his start. He's been brilliant for Liverpool, but I think you can't keep relying on him. And if he makes a mistake, I don't think people will obviously try and get back on his back straight away. And I think that's such a stupid thing. Look, he's an 18-year-old kid that's come in for what we've been saying has been one of the best DMs in world football over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and probably at the moment is our best midfielder. Probably you could argue Thiago as well in that category. So again, and like I said on other videos, he could save Liverpool millions in future windows. So it just tallies up, doesn't it? And I think we do have to take precaution with him, because again, he is 18 years of age and trying to 100%, trying to rush him. And if he makes a mistake, you have to take care of him, because it could completely ruin him in that regard anyway. But a really new deal for Milner, you're right, that would go down badly if it's not just coaching. Yeah, if it's just player contract and it's like a 2-year deal, or 1 year, and we'll look at it in a year's time, like that'll be a funny scenario. But no, 100%. Like James Milner gets a new deal. It's like not player coach, it's just player. Yeah, people will be mad about that. If you're good enough, you're old enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough. I don't know what that's about. Look how ruthless Pep has been. The sales of his players as well. I think Pep in that Champions League interview said it perfectly. It's near enough impossible for a manager to do brilliant with the same group of players for 4, 5, 6 years, and that's what Liverpool's. You look at Liverpool's midfield since 2018. The only thing that's changed is Gini Wijnaldum for Thiago Alcantara, and that's it. There's been no separation in that. We haven't replaced Fabinho, we haven't replaced Jordan Henderson in that regard. Jesus Christ, Kepa nearly scored a goal. But it's that fact where we needed the midfield rebuild 2 summers ago. But again, that same old question keeps on getting thrown out of, but midfielders aren't available, or our midfielders that we want aren't available, and blah 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 blah. It's stupid at the moment. Again, it should have been done a lot sooner. It's not ideal, Ben, but we have to be where we are as well. City can afford to be ruthless. They can afford to be ruthless. They have endless funds, don't they? Realistically, but again, look at Pep's ruthlessness with Cancelo. I didn't expect Joel Cancelo to be gone from Man City, and again, that's weakened. It's weakened Man City for sure. When we talk about the Champions League and we talk about the Premier League, that side probably still wins the Premier League potentially if they can beat Arsenal twice. But you look at it, the Champions League, can they afford? Will that cost them? Can Cancelo? Does anyone know? Can Cancelo play in the Champions League? Um, I'm not entirely sure on the rules if he can play or if they play City in the Champions League. Can that be a thing? I'm not particularly sure, but either way, it's the fact that and in some regards as well, you look at it on this season. I think City were a bit arrogant to not sell, not in the facts of selling Sterling, Zinchenko, and who else did they get rid of? That's two out of the three. Who else did they get rid of, chat? Zinchenko, Sterling, and someone else that I can't remember in my head. But anyway, Jesus, sorry. And they sold two out of the three of them to a rival in Arsenal and made them a better team. And that's the thing that is laughable in that regard, is the fact that they made Arsenal a better team by selling Jesus and Zinchenko. You've seen plenty, Arsenal supporters saying how important Zinchenko's been. For me, if we're going to do, play of the year in that regard, for me, I think this might be a bit controversial. I think Zinchenko deserves player of the year a lot more than Erling Haaland. Don't get me wrong, Erling Haaland scores amazing goals. He scores plenty of goals. But for me, Zinchenko has transformed that Arsenal mentality completely. And that's the big difference. They've took Jesus, who's a winner. They've took Zinchenko, who's a winner, and put that into an Arsenal team. Jorginho, for example, I don't think Jorginho is a obviously he's not a long term signing for Arsenal, but if you hear what I think Thiago Silva was mentioning it, and a couple of Chelsea supporters mentioned it, mentality from Jorginho, he was the loudest speaker in that dressing room for Chelsea, goes to Arsenal. Arteta's, I think, tried to sign him for the last 2 years. And now he could get him, and it just takes that mentality up, and there's a little bit of arrogance in that, that arrogance talk when we're talking about Pep getting rid of players and that. And again, Jurgen, when we're talking on the Liverpool side of things, Liverpool haven't done that. We haven't the only player that we've sold that was a main person or wasn't declining was Phil Coutinho, and that was back in what 2017-18. But yeah, I think right now if we're going to go for who for player of the year, I'd put Zinchenko over Haaland. I might be massively in the wrong for that and thinking that. And let me know your thoughts, guys. But for me, I'd put Zinchenko over Haaland in terms of player of the year. But again, it depends who wins the league. Haaland could literally drive that City team to go on and win the league, and then changes from now until the end of the season. But right now, I'd say Zinchenko is player of the year in my regard. With Pep's training as well, yes, the Fulham right back, starting past Cucurella. It's not really that hard, is it? FB Riv as well. Yeah, thank you, Bray, for that. I get that, Mark, but it's Pep's training. That's the problem. Don't know. That was what you guys were on about. Mitrovic just tried to lob Kepa, almost did it from the halfway line. Lol. I just seen Kepa running his back, to the back of his net. So I was like, bloody hell, he's nearly gone to score and goal there. I 100% agree about Basetic. He's been excellent, but needs to be careful. Yeah, I would agree with that anyway. But we'll get on. We'll move away then, because we have been speaking about we haven't spoken about the preview yet, and we've still got plenty more to talk about in tonight's episode anyway, as well. So we will move on slightly anyway, and we are going to talk about about Enzo Fernandez. We're going to talk about his transfer to Chelsea, which could have a massive effect on Liverpool buying Jude Bellingham this summer. Now, there's been a story from both Christian Falk and Florian Plintenberg. Like I mentioned, them two were the ones that were, again, massive, in January on certain scenarios. But this is, breaking news that came out today. Of course, Enzo Fernandez deal just had a huge Jude Bellingham transfer impact Liverpool won't like, which again is not something that we're going to like, is it, chat? But it does go on to say Liverpool's task of signing Jude Bellingham may have become all the more challenging, with it having emerged that Borussia Dortmund will use Benfica's Enzo Fernandez sale as a benchmark in any negotiations for their star midfielder, as Christian Falk exclusively revealed to Court Offside in his latest column. I'll quickly scroll down for you guys. The Englishman's contract isn't set to be expired until 2025, which should give the German outlet all the flexibility they need to secure a potential record-breaking fee for the midfielder services this summer. We've mentioned already that in March there should be talks around Jude Bellingham. The German journalist wrote all sides were keeping a close eye on the Enzo Fernandez, on the deal for Enzo Fernandez. Certainly, Dortmund now feel they have a suitable benchmark for Bellingham, thanks to Chelsea's transfer. Now they're saying he won't be cheaper, so Liverpool know now what they have to bring to the table. It should be less than the transfer fee. It shouldn't be less than the transfer fee for Fernandes, which of course isn't the best news for Liverpool. And again, 120 million euros in that regard. Again, it's not the best, is it, chat? Again, it was obvious. It's not anything new in particular, but again, it's this thing. Liverpool want Jude Bellingham. Jurgen Klopp is supposedly ringing every single day. He's supposedly meant to be, keeping an eye on the situation with Jude Bellingham. News coming out of Madrid tonight saying that, or today, saying that they have got a plan B already if they can't get Jude Bellingham. The plan B was Enzo Fernandez, but of course that's now been taken by Chelsea, so they're now looking at another plan B just in case they can't get Jude Bellingham. And the problem is, Liverpool, do they have a plan B if we can't get Jude Bellingham? The answer is no. That's the real answer. Liverpool don't have a plan B. And it's going to take a world record fee. And Liverpool should be prepared for this. I don't want any excuses in the summer. Oh, we can't do this because we're not in Europe or blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You're looking probably around 120, 130, probably even more for Jude Bellingham. For me, I'd say still probably 130, which I think is around 110, I think, when you convert it from euros to pounds. I think it's 110, 115. So again, Liverpool know it's going to be a world record fee. It's just whether or not Liverpool are going to take it the full way is a complete other question. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I just want Jude Bellingham wrapped up. If Liverpool saving everything or saving the biggest amount of funds for Jude Bellingham, I want him done, and I want him done the sooner rather than later, because Jesus Christ, it's very much annoying. The fact that we're speaking about this constantly, and now the fact the pressure of it with the Enzo Fernandez deal, and it was going to be obvious, wasn't it, chat? The fact that they would want a lot more than what Enzo Fernandez would go for Chelsea, because of course that was a buyout clause. But again, they have all the rights. They have everything to turn around and go, no, we don't want less than Enzo Fernandez because there's no buyout clause there. I think Liverpool should be prepared for that, and Madrid in that regard, and City. Because again, it's not only them. Newcastle could come in anytime. Chelsea, have proven that they are willing to go and spend the big bucks on a midfielder. So again, and I do think as well, and it's worth noting, saying I do think Jude Bellingham has a massive say on where he goes, and the family, like I mentioned before. I think both of them are massive factors on where Jude Bellingham goes this summer. Anyway, but let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd go Odegaard for Player of the Year. I agree. I think he's been amazing, hasn't he? I go to Brian as well. I personally go Zinchenko though. I don't know whether or not that's just me thinking defensively in that regard, but I think Zinchenko has changed a lot of the mindset at Arsenal. I'd say personally. Is anyone else just desperate for all this Jude stuff to stop, regardless of where he goes? I think it's just the fact now I want to know where he's going. Is a Liverpool gonna put the money on the table, or are we just gonna let him go to Madrid or City or somewhere like that? I think that's the annoying part about it. I would say at the moment anyway. Want it all to stop. Want it all to stop, says Mark. Stop the world. I want to get off as well. Yeah, we'll go on the moon, Mark. Anyway, Chelsea, all that talent, one shot on target. Jesus Christ. Hopefully, we get the investment in, as I can't see FSG using 2% of their NBA fund as well. Yeah, not the best, is it? We could probably ask LeBron to potentially put in a little bit of money anyway. Strikers, Graveyard Dog, and they brought in Porter, the man who couldn't get Brighton to finish their dinner. Wasn't the best, was it? Off the line as well, says Doug. Yeah, the Chelsea game just almost scored, didn't they? Did Reece James come off, Doug? Yeah, he'd come off for what? I don't know what he'd come off for. Yes, Brian as well, and Luke's in as well. Hello, Luke. With the eyes emojis as well. Anyway, but again, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Jude Bellingham stuff. And let me know what a price tag do you think that he'll end up going for. Like I said, for me, I think 130. I think now. And yeah, thanks Chelsea for absolutely messing up any plans I think Liverpool had again in around 120. For God's sake, yeah, not the best anyway. But we'll move on then, and of course we'll talk then about the UEFA Champions League squad that got announced today as well. Obviously, a few names missing from it anyway. Here is the list. I will quickly get the banner down for you guys to see the full list anyway. But again, as you can see, but this is the full list for to face Real Madrid in the Champions League, or the list in general for the Champions League. Of course, we've got Alisson Becker in goal, Kelleher and Adrian. Defenders, Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Ibu Konate, Joel Matip, Nat Phillips, Trent, Robbo, and Kostas Tsimikas. Fabinho, Thiago, Jordan Henderson, James Milner, Naby Keita, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And then we've got Mohamed Salah, Bobby Firmino, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, and Fabio Carvalho as well. And if you guys haven't seen it as well, or haven't noticed, of course, either way, it's confirmed both Arthur Melo and Calvin Ramsey have not been left out of Liverpool's squad for the Champions League knockout stages. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita and Cody Gakpo have been added. Stefan Persetic now qualifies for the club's list B as well, which again, that's good news in that sense as well. But yeah, big news, the fact that Arthur Melo and Calvin Ramsey both miss out, which it's a little bit sad for Calvin Ramsey, not so much Arthur Melo, because he played 5 minutes in Italy against Napoli, and that's all we've seen of him. So again, it's not the best in that regard, but again, Calvin Ramsey, he's not had the best of Liverpool careers, as he at the moment hasn't fit in, hasn't done what I think plenty of us thought that he might do in trying to push Trent for a start. And I think that's a little bit of an annoying thing, the fact that we're still relying on James Milner to be backup right back in that regard as well. But again, it could be a Tsimikas situation where we didn't see Kostas that much for a season. And then, of course, we saw him, we've seen him plenty over the last year or so. So, potentially that might be the case. Maybe Klopp's might be preparing him. Maybe we might see him in a loan move, maybe. But again, I think it'll be interesting to see what does happen with Calvin Ramsey. And again, Arthur Melo, obviously, that Naples game was the only game, or the Napoli game, sorry, was his one and only Champions League game for Liverpool. Anyway, so yeah, not the best for Arthur Melo, but again, good to see the fact that Naby's in there, Ox is in there, Ox for some reason, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz as well. That's like as Brian said, a bit optimistic, including Luis Diaz. Well, we'll get on to with injuries in a moment as well. But it does look like Luis Diaz is slowly coming back. as well that we'll talk about in a minute anyway. But Bellingham to Madrid for 2025. I think right now though, Brian, I'd say Liverpool are ahead of Madrid still. I don't know why I think that, but again, probably because I'm just obsessed with Jude Bellingham to Liverpool. At this point, anyway, there's no good change my mind. But yeah, I think 125, 125.30, I think is around the price for Jude anyway. But we'll move straight in then to the injury news. And yesterday, of course, news came out as well saying that both Virgil van Dijk and Roberto Firmino stepped up their recovery from injury at the Accent Centre this afternoon. However, neither player seemed to be involved in team training. Positive news, nevertheless. And then today, in Jurgen Klopp's press conference, he has said and has confirmed that Diogo Jota is going to be back in full training next week, which again is absolutely brilliant news. Look, we have missed Diogo Jota so much over the last couple of months, and of course, he does also say Firmino and Virgil van Dijk getting closer and closer. And it does also say that Virgil van Dijk could be back in full training next week too as well, which would be absolutely amazing. Could you imagine if we had Virgil van Dijk and Diogo Jota back in time for the Merseyside derby? That would be absolutely brilliant if that was the case. But again, I don't want to rush either one of them back at all. Again, for me, I think Jota out of the two, I don't want to rush Jota back. We've seen how good he was when he was back for 2 games, and that City game in particular when he played left wing. Again, we've missed that this season, and with Luis Diaz as well. Klopp did confirm that he is running at the moment, and he said probably 2 weeks and he might be back in full training. So that's great news in that regard as well. So hopefully, Liverpool might have a full squad probably in about 2-3 weeks, possibly. If that's the case, could Liverpool go on a mad, a mad 14, 15, winning streak games? Could he potentially be? Could we potentially have one of those mega runs that we usually do have when we're usually going for the title? But of course, this time we'll be top four. I doubt it, but again, if Liverpool can bring back Jota, bring back Luis Diaz, and have some sort of an impact this season, and it gets Liverpool top four, then be absolute miracle at that point. But again, I don't want either one of them rushed back, even Virgil in that aspect as well. I don't want any of them rushed back because, to be honest with you, I just want just non-injured players, please. And if that means, again, that leaving them out for an extra 2 to 3 weeks so they can get back form, get back fitness, and whatever, I'd much rather do that than to rush them back straight away. It's like, oh, he's fit 100%. Okay, go. I don't want that. I think pretty much everyone doesn't want that either, to be fair. But let me know your guys' thoughts as well on Diogo Jota being back as well by next week, and Virgil van Dijk potentially being back as well. But Tete has my man of the match for this game as well. We have missed Jota's prowess from headers, in my opinion. Missed Jota altogether, haven't we? We've missed his press. We've missed his, again, Jota would find a goal out of nowhere in that regard as well. So again, we've missed Diogo Jota, and again, hopefully, when he is back, he can stay fit and hopefully be in the team from now until the end of the season. Chelsea 680 million starting 11, the Fulham's 123. Jesus Christ! I think if Fulham draw tonight or win, I think it's their best ever start or their best ever run in the Premier League so far. I think it was 2003 was the better. Was it 2003 they finished 8th or 9th, I think, or something like that after so many games. I'm not particularly sure, but I think if they win or draw, I think they're more or less around the best they've ever had, the best start they've ever had to a season. Anyway, at least what's this? I don't know. Opens the question. Can we talk about Salah being absolutely shite since his new deal? We can. bright as well. And to be fair, we haven't really spoken again about Wolves Liverpool anyway, which we should really get onto. But yeah, he has been at a shite. I'm not going to argue that fact. Absolutely not. Um, and I think it's probably a question of, do we drop Mo potentially? In that regard, Harvey Elliott on the right. Yeah, it could do, to threaten Mo Salah. In that regard, I think you could very well do it. Do I think Liverpool will do it? No, I don't think we will. But I will agree. Mo has been, especially the last couple of weeks, has been awful. I think it's the first time he's gone. I think it's the first time he's gone 3 league games without getting a shot on target. I think, which is terrible. But again, that just goes to show how bad Liverpool is. So, and I think obviously it's his 200th Premier League appearance for Liverpool tomorrow. And I think if he was to score 2 goals, he'd get the most goals ever in 200 Premier League appearances for Liverpool Football Club. He'd break. I think he breaks the records. I think he equals if he scores tomorrow. Again, scores 2 goals, he breaks it. So hopefully that does happen for Mo. And hopefully, for God's sake, he can finally start to get things up as well. But one of the best headers in the league. Definitely got tips off Ronaldo at Portugal camp as well. So Brian, yeah, 100% as well. Very nice, Scouse F Chelsea. Yo as well. Free kick in a dangerous position. I think that was just going for Fulham, wasn't it? What Brian saying? Would you sell him to PSG if they offered 80 million? Yes, maybe. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. If we could get a replacement in that statistically made sense, sure, why not? Let me know your guys' thoughts. I love Mo. I love Mohamed Salah, but it's that fact that he's going to be 31, 80 million quid. I think Liverpool would bite their hand off anyone if someone had come in for that potentially. So I'm not entirely sure. Can't just be focused only on Jude. No, 100% Scouse. We can't. We have to be. We have to have a rebuild. We're probably going to do a video at some point, just looking at just looking in total at what Liverpool could do in terms of the whole squad, getting out players that we could bring in and so on. Maybe we might do that in that regard anyway. But of course, we'll speak then about Liverpool Wolves. Of course, Wolves, we're used to them by now. Of course, what is it? We've played them 3 times over the last 4 weeks. Of course, twice in the FA Cup, once in the league. Well, this will be the one time in the league, and of course, we've got another game that we've got to try and fit in some way, of course, because I think the game got postponed due to the Queen dying as well. So again, the hope that that game won't be upheld anymore, because I don't think at the moment the way the fixtures work, if Liverpool get Champions League football or progress into the Champions League knockout stages, there's no further points you can put into the schedule. So it's going to be interesting to see where they can fit that in at the moment. But again, looking at it and looking in particular, Liverpool haven't got the best of records against Wolves. I will quickly get up as well if I can the last few games between Liverpool and Wolves, if the website wants to work. Wouldn't work earlier on, but now it is working. There we go. Anyway, let me quickly bring that up for you guys as well. Of course, FootMob. Yeah, FootMob wasn't working earlier on, so I'm glad it is now. Let me quickly get rid of that. There we go. But as you can quickly see, let's scroll all the way down to the bottom. The last couple of games, in particular, and if we quickly go to all the games, you see Liverpool winning 1-0 in the FA Cup, the 2-2 that we should have lost in that regard, beating Wolves 3-1 there, 1-0, 1-0 away from home, 4-0 and 2-1, 1-0, 2-0. To be fair, we've actually had a pretty good, we've had a pretty good run against Wolves away from home. and at home lately. But again, just this game in particular, we should have lost that game in the FA Cup. But again, it was against a very weakened Wolves side. We wasn't playing Wolves' number one squad, um, which again we have to be cautious through. Of course, Matthias Nunes is going to be the one that we're going to keep a lookout for again, because of course he's being linked with the move to Liverpool. Um, Chelsea also being spoken about potentially with Matthias Nunes as well. So again, that's going to be a competition in that regard. But we can't really rule out Wolves for this. They are deadly under Lopetegui, and Lopetegui has changed the way Wolves play. For a good, um, in a good sense, of course. Adama Traore seems to be, obviously this time last year was off to Barcelona, looked like his Wolves career was over and done with. This season he's been very, very good for Wolves in that regard. But again, just looking at their potential team, you got the midfield, the two of Ruben Neves, Matthias Nunes, as well, and just their team looks very, very solid. It's just the fact that they haven't been able to get the best of results, you know, this season in that regard. But again, Lopetegui's come in; he's done a fantastic job as of as so far as well. So again, it's going to be a hard game. Let's not get this wrong. It's going to be a very, very hard game. But if Liverpool can somehow get 3 points and a good performance, that will hopefully put us in a good stead, going forward. Again, like I mentioned, with people, coming back like Diogo Jota, like Luis Diaz, Virgil van Dijk. If Liverpool can get a run of games going, who's to say we can't get top four? We've got 18 games left of the season with 10 points from top four. Could it be done? You still have the top teams to play as well. You still have, I think Chelsea away to play. You still have Arsenal to play at home. You have United to play at home. Spurs to play at home. It's in Liverpool's hands. And look, this optimism has come from somewhere. Can Liverpool do it? That's the big question. And I think no, if I'm being honest. But Liverpool have shocked us all before, and we all hope that Liverpool can change our thoughts and opinions as well. But let me know your starting line prediction, guys, and then I'll move on to mine then in a brief moment. El Scouser says, although we've drawn and won them, so a loss would complete the trilogy. Don't say that, El Scouser. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, please. One win in 6 for the Reds. I can't imagine 1 in 7. I reckon we win tomorrow as well. Obviously, Brian's going 1-1 as well. I think it depends how we line up. For me, I think and again, this will annoy me. Gakpo he doesn't play in the 9. Play Darwin Núñez as the central striker. Play Cody Gakpo as a left winger. For God's sake, like if you're going to play 4-3-3, if you're going to play 4-2-3-1, then of course you can change things around with that. But yeah, but bloody put him in. Full-time Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Yep, that's just That's a good result for Liverpool in that regard as well. But lads, can I ask, do you have a Liverpool New Balance snood? I do not have a Liverpool New Balance snood. I don't know where you could get one of those now. Probably retro. Foot. Is it classic football? That you might be able to get something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But no, I don't have one, if I'm being honest. Ali, Trent, Gomez, Matip, Robbo, Thiago, Bacetic, Keita, Gakpo, Nunes, Salah. Spoilers for there. Brian as well. But Ali, Trent, Matip, Phillips, Robertson, Bacetic, Thiago, Gakpo, Carvalho, Elliot, Nunes. No Salah in there for Doug. I go 4-2-3-1, and yes, I dropped Mo. There we go. Doug has dropped Mohamed Salah. Get in there, Doug, as well. Chelsea never looked like scoring. They need a striker, don't they? They'll end up spending a £100 million striker when they already have a £100 million striker in Romelu Lukaku. As well. But this would be my starting line prediction. Anyway, I know I said I don't want Joe Gomez in there, but I think Jurgen Klopp will put him in there. But yeah, I've got Alisson Becker in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip, Joe Gomez, and Andy Robertson, Steven Basetic, Thiago Alcantara, Naby Keita, and then Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, and Mohamed Salah. That's the team that I've gone for. It's probably Liverpool's best team at the moment on paper. But again, just looking for a performance. I think that's what all of us are looking for at the moment, is the fact that, as Brian said with this snap, yeah, we've gone for the same team, but Brian, great minds think alike. But yeah, I think, look, on paper, that is Liverpool's best team at the moment. Basetic gets ahead of Fabinho. Jordan Henderson doesn't get anywhere near Liverpool's midfield at the moment. And yeah, the only real changes you could potentially see, maybe Joe Gomez out, Fabinho in, potentially, in that regard. Apart from that, I don't know what else really you could potentially change. But yeah, I want Cody Gakpo on the left. I want Darwin Núñez running at and causing chaos against Wolves' defence. And just hopefully, we get a good performance. That's the only thing I think we can hope for. Obviously, the result as well, but just perform. Like the Brighton game, I think ended up being really frustrated because we performed at times. It wasn't consistent. It was just little periods where Liverpool performed to a level. And that's what we want to see more consistently and for a longer period of time. But again, hopefully that's building up potentially for a very good run in the league, and that's what you hope for realistically. But for me, I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool. I've gone bold and brave. I've gone for a clean sheet for the Reds. I might be stupid by doing that, but again, I think I'm going to go Liverpool 2-0. Yeah, 2-0. I think we're going to get a win. And hopefully, like I said, it could be the start for a couple of wins on the bounce. But again, I'm prepared to get to be emotionally destroyed tomorrow by poor football yet again. But yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool tomorrow, which again, Wolves fans might not like about that anyway. But a few goals, yeah. But we're looking so blunt lately. Agree 1,000% on that. So what do you call a Wolf that knows it's a Wolf? It's time to end the show. Wolves 0, Liverpool 1. Going forward, well, yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool for me anyway. But to be fair, we are going to leave it there. Chris saying Wolves 1, Liverpool 0. My prediction. Bloody hell, Chris. Where's the optimism, Chris? Where's the bloody optimism? No, I'm kidding, of course. But look, again, for me, I think, well, Chris said that Nat Phillips should be starting. What's he done wrong? Nothing. But I think Jurgen will 100% go with Joe Gomez, unfortunately. But yeah, I would agree. I'd rather Fabinho had sent it off than Joe Gomez as well. But red card for Doug as well. Yeah, show Doug the red card. To be fair, anyway. But guys, that is going to be it from me for tonight. Of course, we've mentioned and we've spoken about Bobby Firmino getting his new deal. Of course, we've spoken about Jude Bellingham and potentially, of course, the Enzo Fernandez deal potentially getting or potentially making Liverpool's deal a lot harder for Jude Bellingham. And of course, we've spoken about the Champions League squad. We've spoken about the latest injuries as well. And again, if you guys have not yet checked the TikTok, again, where I'm going to quickly see if I can quickly get it up for you guys. Anyway, because we are only a couple of hundred. Oh, I say a couple of hundred. We are, I think, 80 or 70. I think followers away from a K. So we can get to, we are, what's that? We are 76. Yeah, we're 76 followers away from hitting a K. So if we can get to 1,000, if anyone, get on the old TikTok as well. Again, we put up clips from the show as well. You can see me double there as well. But again, we clip up, Jurgen Klopp, his press conferences. We speak, clip up bit parts of the show and so forth as well. And that. So again, if you guys just want to see, 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the show, then again we post the shorts on We post shorts on here. We post it on TikTok as well. So if you guys can go over and follow us on there, very much appreciated. As always, you don't have to, but it'd be very much appreciated. As always, and if you're, again, new around here, then please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button as well, guys. Very much appreciated. He likes my jokes. I'm not going to mention. And if I speak, I'd be in big trouble. Night Connor, good luck tomorrow at the F and Reds. We go on. Absolutely, Tom. Great seeing you as well, my friend as well. And yeah, guys, hopefully you lot have had a fantastic day. Anyway, wherever you are around the world, and yeah, hopefully by 5 o'clock tomorrow we can speak about Liverpool winning a game of football. Anyway, and hopefully things looking a lot better for the Reds anyway. But I've been Connor from the Cop Council. I'll see you all tomorrow. Ta-ra.